still on the Premier League, Chelsea, it's not looking great for Chelsea. Chelsea have only won 6 games since the turn of 2022, and they just look worse every game. Nicholas Jackson doesn't seem to be getting much better. Mudryk hasn't come good yet. I don't think he scored a Chelsea goal yet. What do you say about Chelsea?
Mudryk hasn't scored a Chelsea goal or given an assist yet. So it's
in
bad.
100 games.
It's bad. But it's still early days. Oof. For players like Nicholas Jackson, for players like Enzo, these are young boys.
Enzo looks good. I'll give Enzo that. But Nicholas Jackson, he's not giving me enough. He's running around, he's looking aggressive, but he's not nearly enough of a goal threat. And every game I see a miss or a bit of his technique that just looks poor. And he just looks so raw. And I don't think he's Chelsea striker. I think they need Nkunku back quickly and have Nkunku lead the line. I don't know if he's exactly a line leader like that, but he might be the most competent attacker in the
I strongly feel like when Nkunku is fit, if they pair him with Jackson,
perhaps that could get the best out of Jackson.
You see madness.
Yo, what's good, Shangalo Nation, Shangalo people? Your boys are back. We missed you on the preview episode, but we're here for the recap episode.
Yeah,
it not happened over the weekend.
Yeah, that's actually true. Unfortunately, we couldn't record on Friday last week, but yeah,
no
we're
predictions
here.
today. No giveaways for predicting the score right.
Yeah,
but maybe the Champions League coming up, so you have your chance at the end of this episode. So
sure.
Stay tuned to the end of this episode for that. All right, let's get into it. I guess I'll take lead here. Exciting weekend of Premier League football. A lot happened. The league is taking a bit of shape. Big results everywhere. And I think we should start from the biggest one and address the elephant in the room. And that is, there are 2 elephants in the room at the moment, but Mr. D is on the other side of the wall. So I'll address the one I have with you. Manchester United versus Brighton. 3-1. We didn't have a chance to do the preview episode, so I guess I didn't really get your thoughts on this going into the game. But how did you feel going into this game?
Going into the game, there was not that much confidence on my end, to be very honest. But I would not say that I was expecting to lose 3-1 at home to Brighton. Manchester United have lost their first home game in about 30 fixtures. So yeah, it was big. It just went to show that Ten Hag is De Zerbi's fit in the word, man. Because that's 4 games on the trot or 3 games on the trot that he has beaten him and beaten him very well. Right?
And the games that United won in the cup, like Brighton have always put on a very good strain on themselves.
Exactly. So that's just what you tape. And it was more disappointing for me because I did not see my manager put up any tactical nose. I didn't see his tactical depth. I didn't see it in that game. He did a couple of tweaks to help Manchester United start the game well, but when things started to fall apart, there's things you can do.
I feel like
that
he
would
made
make
the wrong decisions, like taking off Højlund.
So Højlund could not play 90 minutes because of his injury, right? So he on 60 minutes on the dot, he had to take him out.
You saw the fans' reaction to that. It was stadium booing him, and to be booing a manager and his decision 5 games into the season is
that one was beyond his power, right? Yeah. That's not even the thing I would have blamed him for. But there's other things that I feel like he could have done to make. But not to belabor the point, too much. Manchester United are in the doldrums at the moment, right? 5 games in, 3 losses. The first time Manchester United will lose 3 losses in 5 games at the start of a Premier League season.
Ever? Oof. Because, I actually did see some stats, and there are some things that are happening for the first time under Erik Ten Hag. There have some time, like the Tottenham result, I think that loss was an historic loss as well. There have been quite a few historic losses that have happened under Ten Hag. And I'm just wondering, because we've spoken about Ten Hag recently, and I've said it's not looking great for him. And when I say it's not looking great for Ten Hag, partially it's not his fault. It's going to be hard for it to look great for anybody at Manchester United right now because
there's so much that's just going wrong.
Yeah, the issues with the club and there are things that we understand, like upset, things are wrong. And then there's even this era of like where things are just happening. Like, how do we explain what's been happening to the right wingers right now? So I think Ten Hag is almost destined to fail, and it's not looking great for him.
Nah, it's not looking great at all, and it's just bad, man. And we go to Allianz Arena on Wednesday.
It could get worse on Wednesday.
Let's see how that pans
out. Harry Kane is licking his lips because he said, he shall go to Man, you shall stay in the Premier League. So Harry Kane is licking his lips for this picture.
But we know Tuchel is doing
not a good manager.
He's doing a bad job of managing Bayern Munich at the moment. But they're still. It's
still Harry Kane.
It's still Bayern Munich
against world-class players.
So let's just see how that one turns out.
So we'll keep an eye on that. Manchester United, how they fare in the Champions League. We'll get into Champions League fixtures as we go along. But still in the Premier League, there were some other interesting results. Liverpool have come back again from 1-0 down again. It's quite surprising. All our games this season have just been, there's just been weird. There's just been something off about it, whether it's a red card or the Newcastle game. We've seen multiple red cards. We've seen the Trent decision. And then now this game again, there's a start that I saw coming into this game. And after the international break, the 12:30 fixture, Liverpool have played that since 2015 when Klopp came. We've played that fixture in that slot 12 times. The team in second has played that fixture 6 times. So for some reason, the Premier League loves to put Liverpool in that fixture. And us being a team that we have, being such an international team, we always have South American players, Firmino, Fabinho, Alisson, McAllister now, Diaz, Nunes. A lot of our best players were missing this game. So it just feels like there hasn't been one game of regular Premier League football for Liverpool since, I guess, the Chelsea game.
So this is what I'd like to say about that fixture, yeah? 2 things. One is that Jurgen Klopp's moanings before the game did go a long way to affect the psyche of the
I said
players.
that during the game. I feel like the players played in the first half like they thought they would lose, but we can't look away from the fact that why will he not move when he has played this fixture?
No, there's no problem with that, right?
It's so bad.
But there's an element to managing that, you know, and not allowing it spill over to your players.
I think it didn't.
Liverpool were very poor in the first half, and that's one thing that I sort of juxtaposed between the Wolves and Liverpool game and the Brighton and Manchester United game. Second half, even before Klopp made any substitutions, he made tactical tweaks that turned everything on its head. Literally snapped his finger and everything changed. Liverpool bossed that game from the 45th minute
and it's because Klopp has
to
been
the
making
end.
Weird decisions, and I think he's still in love with. There's a tactic. The tactic we used towards the end of last season. We had Trent coming into midfield. We won so many games, almost going to the top 4. It's like he's still kind of in love with that idea. And we have some of the best players in the world at their normal position. And when we have so many injuries, Klopp still attempted to play the way he would have played with Trent Alexander-Arnold into midfield. But was Joe Gomez? He can't play midfield. He had Kwanzaa playing instead of Van Dijk, and he's asking Kwanzaa to do what Van Dijk does. So there's a certain
But Kwanzaa wasn't bad.
He was
Kwanzaa
good, but like
bad.
these players aren't. Klopp wants us to play the same way regardless of who is playing. And I think that cost us. And in the first half, that's what cost us. Then the second half, we played a little more normal.
But that's not too much to ask for, I promise you, because at Brighton, that's exactly what happened. Brighton made 6 changes to their squad and played the exact same way. So it's not too much for a manager to ask of that
and he
from
got
his
away
players.
with it,
but that's just the extra the extra thing about Klopp. Yeah, he has the pedigree, he's intelligent, he's smart.
Yeah.
The guy Sabi, they were very poor in the first half. He came in second half, whatever I said to the play, and the tactical tweak, pushing his wing backs up front, pushing Wolves back. It worked, and it worked wonders.
All right, so moving on to the other games that happened. Manchester City, as usual, got another result. 3-1 winners. Doku with a great goal. Haaland scoring again. Business as usual for City.
I mean, for me, the thing that really stood out for me was Pep Guardiola's comments after the game. He said, now this is a real winger, right? And it's like Jack Grealish has traumatized the guy.
And you know my problem? This is why I don't like Pep Guardiola. What do you mean now this is a real winger?
Bro,
so now you're gonna act like before you signed Jack Grealish. Jack Grealish wasn't in the PFA team of the year. Jack Grealish will score 8 goals and multiple assists in the season.
He wasn't somebody you would say is an out-and-out winger.
Because Pep killed him. He was cutting in and did you see him against United last season? Cutting in, banging it from his left foot into top corner. Pep Guardiola neutered him, and then now he's now saying this is a real winger.
Let's just hope that happens with Jeremy Doku because the guy looks scary. He looks scary.
Doku looked great.
Right.
Haaland looked how he normally looked. I didn't captain Haaland this week in my FPL.
But Haaland was poor. He actually missed a couple of sitters.
So it was looking right for me until he got the goal. But if you don't captain Haaland and he only scores 1, I'll still take it. It could have been worse. He got a hat-trick last week. Yeah. And so that's a little touch of my FPL, but we might get into that towards the end of the episode. Still on the Premier League, Chelsea, it's not looking great for Chelsea. Chelsea have only won 6 games since the turn of 2022, and they just look worse every game. Nicholas Jackson doesn't seem to be getting much better. Mudryk hasn't come good yet. I don't think he scored a Chelsea goal yet. What do we say about Chelsea?
Mudryk hasn't scored a Chelsea goal or given an assist yet. So
it's been 100 games.
It's bad. But it's still early days. Oof. For players like Nicholas Jackson, for players like Enzo, these are young boys.
Enzo looks good. I'll give Enzo that. But Nicholas Jackson, he's not giving me enough. He's running around, he's looking aggressive, but he's not nearly enough of a goal threat. And every game I see a miss or a bit of his technique that just looks poor. And he just looks so raw, and I don't think he's Chelsea striker. I think they need Nkunku back quickly and have Nkunku lead the line. I don't know if he's exactly a line leader like that, but he might be the most competent attacker in the
I
ranks.
strongly feel like when Nkunku is fit, if they pair him with Jackson,
Perhaps that could
you
get
would
the best
you would
out of
see
Jackson.
You would see madness from both of them.
Perhaps we'll keep an eye on that. Still in the Premier League, Spurs are looking very good. They came back in dramatic circumstances. This is the manager that has taken to the Premier League like a duck to water, and they haven't lost a game. They've got 4 wins and a draw. They've won some big games. It's impressive.
2 things I would say. I just hope that this is not the new manager bounce going for Tottenham. It would be great to actually see Tottenham do well and end this season.
They look like a top 4 side.
It would be great as a neutral. But it was an interesting game.
Yeah.
It looked like they were going to lose it at the death, and Richarlison eventually scored
An assist.
and got the assist.
A very
for
good goal at the
Kulusevski.
end.
So
Great to see.
massive.
Before we
massive,
leave the
massive
Premier
step forward.
League, last result we're going to touch on. Arsenal 1-0 against Everton. Arsenal showing that resolve. It was a tough game. They didn't create too many chances early in the game, but they looked like the better side, and Everton didn't look like they were going to score any.
For Arsenal, I'll just say they should just stop moaning about that goal that was disallowed. It was offside and it's simple.
Speaking about goals that are disallowed, how do you feel about the Rashford Højlund goal? Over the line or not?
It was over the line from an angle, and that's the thing, right? It's about the angle. It's the same thing that happened with the disallowed goal in what game was that against Manchester United? Rashford against Arsenal. Yeah, it was all about the angle you're looking at it from.
All right, fair enough. You let us know your thoughts at home. All right, let's move on to the Champions League. We have European football this midweek across the Champions League, the Conference League, and the Europa League. But we're going to touch on the Champions League for now. And in Champions League, yeah, we know 4 teams qualified from the Premier League: Newcastle, Manchester United, Manchester City, and Arsenal. There are some very big games in here, and I think the one that stands out to me from Tuesday's game, the game I'm probably the most excited for, starts early, 5:45, but that's Newcastle versus AC Milan. I think that could be a very interesting game.
Yeah, that would be a very interesting one. And with AC Milan being at home, it will be an interesting dynamic for Newcastle players. They will
A
travel
huge
over
away
to,
game that they haven't seen something like that. But that's why you think that perhaps the quality of the Premier League can show, because yes, Newcastle, AC Milan is a big away game, but they play away games against the champions of Europe often. So they see this level, they play against Liverpool, they play against Arsenal, so they play against teams on this level. Premier League teams have this experience that other European teams don't have. AC Milan might not have played as many teams that will be as tough and as rugged as Newcastle in the Serie A.
It's just double-edged, right? Because Newcastle have not exactly started this season
Great. No, they have not at all.
They struggled to.
They got a win, though.
They struggled actually
Yeah,
to a
yeah.
1-0 win over the weekend. So let's just see how it plays out for them.
Yeah, it could be an interesting game. And AC Milan don't look great either. They just held it quite severely to their City rival, so they're not coming in here with much confidence either. So that could be a big game. Other games happening, another very big game happening is PSG versus Borussia Dortmund. That could be an exciting game. Exciting young players on each side. It's always good to see Kylian Mbappe on the big stage.
Yeah, and it's good that the UCL this season is starting with that group that we picked to be the toughest, right? That's the group of death according to our analysis. It will be interesting to see how everything shapes up. Like I said in that episode, I really can't call how the group would go. So this is the game. This is the weekend, or this is the week where I'll now say, okay, this is what it's. Yeah,
I think my money would probably still be on PSG. I think Kylian Mbappe, even though PSG haven't looked that great, he's looked exceptional. He's just hit the ground running this season, and I'm going to be looking
interesting
out for him.
dynamic about the PSG side, right? Last weekend, that PSG setup had 2 Mbappes, right? Ethan Mbappe has been drafted
for the first time.
into the PSG squad.
We'll see how that goes for him. Still on Tuesday, the current champions of Europe start their defense campaign. A very easy game. City,
Against
say have agendas, but
Zvezda or
City will be playing against Crvena Zvezda. I don't know if you guys know them. You can give us your predictions in the score and write to the comments to educate us about them, because by ITK no regional level,
Right.
we expect City to get the result. If you think otherwise, let us know in the comment section and why you think so. If you have players on that side that you think could be good, educate us.
I mean, that's definitely City.
Moving on to Wednesday, the other 2 Premier League teams that qualified for this year's Champions League will be playing. Manchester United have a very tough challenge, as we mentioned earlier. They play against Bayern Munich away. What do you predict for that match? How do you think you can get a win? What are your expectations?
I'm absolutely. There's no expectations.
You don't know
There's
see
really
what
no.
happens.
Let's just see what
See
happens.
where the chips fall.
And the thing with Bayern Munich is that they're not exactly exceptional at the moment. So that might play in. You know, that might. But
They're not playing great, but I will say from the matches I've seen, Harry Kane looks good. He looks like Harry Kane. He's dropping his leg. He just looks like Harry Kane.
Yeah.
And Leroy Sané, I think he's playing some of the better football he's played for since he's arrived at Bayern Munich. He had an injury, so his pace looked a little like he lost that explosiveness, but this season we're seeing it again. So that's definitely a player I'll be looking at in that game, see how he performs. Arsenal's match. Arsenal back in the Champions League, their first Champions League game in, I think it's for over 6 years, maybe even more than that. A decent test. They're not throwing into the deep end, but it's not a game they should take lightly. PSV are a decent side. Arsenal are at home, so they should expect to get a result if they take care of business.
I mean, yeah, Arsenal at home, you would expect that they get a result. But in the Europa League last season, that was the same way we expected Arsenal to get
European
results
football.
against
And we
some
do
of the
see that
sides.
from where some teams and managers just can't handle European football, regardless of how good they are. We saw
And
Barcelona.
don't forget this PSV side beat Arsenal in the Europa League
Exactly.
last season,
So yeah, this could be an interesting game. Keep an eye on that.
Yep.
I would say I'll expect Arsenal to lose until they actually show me that they're not good in Europe. Then I'll still assume they should win because they are the better side coming into this game and they're playing at home. The last game we're going to touch on really briefly is the Real Madrid game versus Union Berlin. You would expect Real Madrid to dominate this game. It's exciting to see Jude Bellingham play his first Champions League game for Real Madrid. You'd expect him to deliver again. Madrid are in great form, top of the league, won over the weekend.
And he's literally their shining star. He's
Their
their
shining
North
light.
Star at the moment.
He's
man.
playing at the top of the diamond. They're building a team around him, and it's looking good. Union Berlin, however, historically, you'd expect this to be a walkover for Real Madrid. But when you consider the season Union Berlin had last year, if Madrid aren't serious about it, they could face a few problems. So that's a game that I'd say Real Madrid should win that game, but keep an eye on that game. Maybe watch it. It could be an entertaining game.
Yep, true that.
So that's our Champions League predictions. That's our recap of what happened in the Premier League over the weekend. Let us know in the comment section what you expect to happen in the Champions League, your craziest predictions, what upsets you think you're going to see. Like, share, subscribe, and be here on Friday for the review. Safe.